And if there's a couple of moments there where it feels like, wow, I think that she would go about 6 meters laterally, great, then go for it. But again, what I'm saying is just don't ask for so much that she thinks, I can't do this, or this is too hard. Because I really like where her mind is right now. Let's just spark this up a little bit. Now the circle where you kind of, but circle to the right. If you're leg yielding off the right leg, you'll circle to the right. Because see, that way you're still working, you're still carving the bend on that right side. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's right. So at first it might feel like just her belly goes out to the left. And maybe picture if her belly wall was soft to your inside leg and her belly wall actually moved over to the left. It moves out of the way that her right hind can cross over. That's right. And then the circle, and then kind of establish that trot again. Can you move the belly wall to the left? It kind of swings over to the left. That's right. Good. Good. And then let's do that off the other direction. And even as you're turning, think that same way, that the belly wall can soften this new direction. Little bit of trot, a little bit more trot if you can. And so that it gets to be more that she's not just following that rein, making the turn. But again, you can actually move the belly to the outside. So it would look like she had a distended belly on the outside and a hollow belly on the inside. And that's going to, gymnasticize her in a couple of ways. We said freeing up the place for the inside hind leg to cross up and over. And it also stretches the outside of her body. A little bit more trot. Think you can do it. Good girl. Little bit more trot again. Super. Yeah. And you'll go through phases where it might be a little bit more difficult this side, and then after a month or two you'll go, wow, this is now you've got something that you're dealing with on the right side. It's just part of the process. A little bit more trot. You'll see on the video where the trot gets a little bit too doggy. Yeah. Yep. Good. Straight ahead now. Let's see if we can go on a long line without her front end wanting to go a different speed than her hind end. But for most horses, we're always after that we quicken the hind leg and the front end slows. And the reason that that happens is because the horse is more willing to take weight on the haunch, which elevates the front and makes it look like the horse has more float out the front. Good. But if the horse is weighted down on the front end, it has no choice other than to move quick and short so that it doesn't fall on its head. Very good. On the diagonal. And if you don't do the full diagonal, fine. If you feel like you're going to lose that quality, little bump, little bump. And you'll also find places, Rachel, where she might get a little physically tired, okay? Not that she's, because I think she's in fairly good shape, and I don't think, sometimes it's not that you're aerobically tired, but if you're doing certain exercises and asking, like, you know, doing deep knee bends, and we're not used to it, those muscles are going to tire out. And so just be aware of that with her. And sometimes it's hard to make that call. Are they being fussy in the neck and kind of tuning out because they just don't want to? And you have to find that right place where you work them through that a little bit, but you're not unfair, right? You don't expect them to do it for an hour. It'd be just like you would treat yourself working out. You're going to do so many repetitions of one exercise, so many push-ups, then you're going to give that muscle group a rest. Very good. Very good. What I liked was that you could actually cluck with your tongue there, and she didn't put her neck down too low.
She's like, what are you asking me, lady?
Good. Good. A little bit more trot, but again, I'm liking the balance there. If we took a level and we put it across your saddle, we would want, as your work progresses, that the croup would be physically lower and the withers taller, okay? And a little bit her build is that she's got this nice full rear end, but her front legs are just a tiny short, right? That's just reality. So it takes a little, she's not naturally built uphill. And so then again, it comes through training and exercises that we teach her that she can take some weight on the hind end, bend the hocks, and load the hind leg.
She's tired.
Yeah. And that will elevate the front.
That's really funny. She can run around like a maniac and not sweat, but
Little bump.
a nice work,
Yeah.
you know,
Little
work
bump
toward
again.
a working trot.
She's in a good place in her head, right? She might be getting a little, but you also want them the right kind of sometimes tired that you can work through a spot. Yeah. Little bump of the leg. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, Denver.
Is it lunch? Little bump, bump, bump. Surely I'm missing something.
Is it a bae? Does she think it's her boyfriend?
Let's see if we can get a little bit more trot.
Sorry, I'm just taking a moment.
That's okay. Good. Little bump, little bump, little bump. Yeah, just kind of like a pesky little annoying bump. Just like, I'm not going to beat you up, but I'm not going to go away. I'll just be here kind of like a pesky little fly. There you go. Good. Very good. Very good. Okay, now do you see the height of her ears?
Yeah.
Okay, and try to keep, for right now, the height of her ears at this point. The roundness, we would want it to come with her ears at that height. I think if you really worried about the roundness before you established this rhythm and the relaxation and this type of rideability, I don't think you would ever, it would be so hard to pull her up from that. But right where her ears were, that was part of what I was talking about, the front end, the wither elevating a little bit. And you'll let the roundness come from her ears at that height. Does that make sense to you?
I think so.
Very good. Let's let her walk when you're ready. You're choosing. Let her have a break. But I liked what I was beginning to see front and back a lot better than when she first came out. Could you feel the difference?
I think so.
Okay.
I felt like she was moving from behind me.
Yeah. In connection with the front end, and that again, it's not a different speed.
She shouldn't have to.
Thank you. Has she been good?
She's been so good. She had a couple of weeks off because her back was getting a little sore.
Yeah.
And she's just coming back from it like nothing ever changed. She's been so good.
So what's the canter like?
She's better to the left. I usually have pretty good luck going to the left. I can get her fairly slow. But to the right, she likes to face to the outside.
Okay. Well, when you're ready, let's just peek out there to the left.
What are we mumbling about? Yeah? It's waiting for you. Whenever you're ready.
She's going to be like, what I do?
Hi, I'll just take you along.
She is pretty fun.
Good. And then trot.
That's very quick. Someday. She
And
loves
just
to
try the step. Yeah, good. And when you're ready to the canter again, you're going to canter 5 or 6 strides and then the transition back to the trot again. Good girl. And trot. We're going to use the transitions, Rachel, to help you get a transmission in that canter. Rather than the canter kind of like we were talking about at the beginning at the trot, that it just kind of gets faster and faster and faster. You know, there's kind of like one speed, really fast and then or nothing.
Yeah.
So we're going to do more transitions, and in building these transitions, and you know, you might do it for a day or two like this, and then you'll have to, even though it gets fast, go, okay, we're not just cantering, you know, 5 or 6 steps, I want you to stay in the canter. But the idea is that eventually you'll be able to bring her back a little bit, keep her from going too fast, but hopefully stay in the canter. Does that make sense? But for right now, we're going to break it up a little bit because she doesn't understand that. It's not like you can say, I want you to canter slower. Again, you've kind of got to methodically work through how that's going to make sense to her when you're ready to the canter. And you may even say, you might have to get creative and say, okay, I'm going to maybe spiral in, and as I'm leg yielding out, I'm going to pick up the canter then, you know, rather than doing the canter where she's a little flat. And trot. Leg yield out. And canter. Good. Already better. And trot. You can head toward that smaller circle is fine. And again, I like how you don't panic. Even if it's not coming together, you've got a great ease about you that I think is so helpful with a project like this horse. That's it.
Missed the transition.
Circle, smaller, voice, and I would use your voice every time, whether it's a hum or anything, as you want to come down, be really consistent that way. And breathe. You mean you're not that calm up there as you appear?
She just calmly doesn't breathe.
Good. Good.
She's such a clever
The quality in that canter you see on the video is much better. She's not going around, running around like Minnie Mouse.
Mouse.
Let that settle. Come back down to trot. Let that trot settle. Get some relaxation into it. And at this point, try not to go to the canter ever where you're chasing her. Because that's the exact opposite of what we want the canter to feel like, right?
Yeah.
Do that again when you're ready. Back up to the canter. Good correction. Very good. Very good.
Oh, I saw that correction from her seat. That was nice.
Now the transition before you get to where you have to hold her. Breathe. Little breath in the rein even there. You got it. Like that. Like to see where you could have that kind of breath coming into the transition itself. When you're ready, let her walk. Take a break. So this first half of the canter circle, great rideability, right? Once you passed here, she wasn't able to kind of keep that round, little bit of a bound feeling to it. Then she wants to speed up, and then you end up holding her. So that's where you know you don't want to do that canter, and that's where I would for sure break down to a transition. Does that make sense? But it was great how quickly she picked up on it, right? And then as you go down into that down transition, and this is, you know, being a little bit more picky, but I would think that you would be able to go that transition down and have a little more breath in the rein where you gave me here. And part of that too is like breaking that cycle of, you know, sometimes if we're the only ones that are on them, we're kind of like the old married couple. Well, if I do this, they're going to do that. If I say this, they say that. And you can start to break those old conversations and say, well, what happens if I don't get ready for you? to go and kind of just you charge off in the trot. What happens if I treat you like a bigger horse and I just let you breathe into this? And all that, they'll go, oh, we don't have to have that conversation that way all the time? Okay. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
What a sweetheart. I like all those colors in the tail. I love that color of tail. Okay, let's look at this canter on the right before we quit.
She could take her in the pony classes.
She's adorable.
Really fun though.
Why not?
Hey, MJ, could you call me
I think it depends on whether she's shod or not. She's right on the line.
Yeah.
She's like, is she a horse or is she a pony? Does she have shoes on? Here we go. Ah, we fall apart.
Krista.
Good.
Good.
Smart.
There's our runaway pony.
No, you're gonna make that turn or not.
Yeah, I was questioning that one myself.